Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of Vesuvius Town Council on Monday, December the 19th, 2016 at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So we'll call the meeting to order, and first is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes on December the 5th and the regular open minutes of December the 5th, both for adoption. I have a thank you, Councillor Campbell, Councillor King, that we move the adoption of those. All in favor? Thank you. Business arising from prior minutes. This is from a closed meeting of December the 19th, the Affordable Housing Authority. And there was a motion made by Councillor Campbell, Councillor Rhodes, that that this be read from the closed meeting, that it be read in the regular minutes, that Council appoint Sam Demeaux, Kathy Iyer, David Felnham, and Colin Lake as citizen representatives for a 3-year term on the town's Affordable Housing Authority, with responsibilities under the Near Market Affordable Housing Program for assessing and selecting applicants for housing support, and that this be brought out of in camera. And that was carried. Do we need to move that is brought out of in camera?
That it be received into this meeting, yes.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor? Thank you. And introduction of late items. The Town of Vesuvius Affordable Housing Authority policy. So we're moving that the Town of Vesuvius Affordable Housing Authority policy be added to the agenda as business item number 3, and that the agenda of December the 19th be adopted as amended. Could I have, thank you, Councillor Campbell, Councillor King. All in favor? Thank you. There are no delegations, and we have water matters, and that would be the Water District's 8 and 9 financial accounts to report on expenditures from accounts payable for water councillors and council approval. Water District cash requirements to December the 19th, 2016 are in the amount of $18,128.88 for council approval. Could I have option 1 to approve them? And seconded by Councillor Ray. All in favor? Thank you. Next is the Okanagan Basin Water Board meeting highlights. And I'd just like to point out that I was at a meeting there last week, December the 7th, and one of our main concerns is the zebra quagga mussel. And there was quite a long talk about that at the meeting. And Lisa Scott from Oasis spoke on the Don't Move a Mussel. And since then, there has been a letter by OBWB sent to several people. I think we have a copy of it, and it was sent to council. You will see it in the paper. It was sent to the federal Ministry of Fisheries, Tourism, anybody that we could think of, really. And the problem is that there are holes, big holes, obviously, in the existing inspection program in BC and elsewhere. And I guess the most disturbing news lately was that in Montana, they have discovered that there's mussel larvae in 3 different areas, and they really thought they'd had a very comprehensive program to keep it out of the state. So, it just makes everybody quite worried. So you will likely see a beefed up program this year. It's very easy for 1 or 2 or even a dozen boats to slide through without being inspected. They're trying to get Canadian Border Services people trained to really pick up on not just you have a boat going through, but you have a canoe, you have a kayak, you have hip waders. Any of those things can be any watercraft, basically. Anything that goes in the water is susceptible to having the larva. So it's a really, really big issue right now, and I think you're going to see a lot more attention devoted to it. And I have to commend Mr. Lacey, because the Osoyoos Times has been extremely good about putting articles in and bringing it to people's attention. But it obviously needs a lot more work on this, and fast. So that's quite a concern. Farther down on the report is winter rototilling efforts with milfoil. The work has been completed in Penticton Marina and in several areas of Osoyoos Lake, and they're now looking at West Kelowna and Wood Lake, and also working on Vassal Lake right now. So it's a huge program as well, and 40 years ago there wasn't any such thing as milfoil. And look at the concerns that we have now and the amount of money that's spent dealing with this, and it's just managing it, not eradicating it. So Okanagan Basin Water Board, we're very fortunate to have this group in our valley, because they do a lot of work and point out a lot of things that might slip by if it wasn't for some of the experts in the field there. So, Ms. Van Vienna, do you want us to accept that as information? Receive it? Thank you. Do we need to vote on that? Okay, would Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor? Thank you. The Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw, Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. So before Council is the Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw 1326. This is for Council to renew their line of credit with the Bank of Montreal. Section 177 of the Community Charter allows the municipality by bylaw to establish a bylaw to provide for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. The bylaw authorizes the municipality to borrow up to $1.5 million to meet current expenditures and pay amounts to meet the municipality's taxing obligations. This line of credit is set up with the Bank of Montreal. If this operating line of credit is used, the revenue from property taxes must be used to pay the money borrowed. In 2016, the town of Osoyoos did not go into their line of credit. And I don't believe we've gone into a line of credit over the last 10 years. Implications for community: allows for operations to continue until funding comes in for taxation. Organizationally, there's no impacts. Budget, there's no impacts. Significant dates: new bylaw to be adopted prior to February 2017. Sustainability is fiscal management. Options before Council: to give first three readings to Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw 1326-2016, or option number 2, not to give first three readings to this bylaw. And the recommendation is option number 1.
Thank you. This is fairly straightforward. We've done it every year. We've never had to use it, but it's just in case. Councillor King, Councillor Campbell, all in favor? Thank you very much. And next is the Municipal Ticket Information Amendment Bylaw, and that would be Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. Council adopted Animal Control and Licensing Bylaw number 1316-2016 at its regular meeting of November 21st, 2016. Fines must now be attached to the various regulations in the bylaw through the Municipal Ticket Information Bylaw. Council gave 3 readings to Municipal Ticket Information Amendment Bylaw number 1279.10, 2016 at its regular open meeting of December 5th, 2016. It is now being presented for adoption. This bylaw sets fines for infractions under the new Animal Control and Licensing Bylaw. The maximum fine amount permitted under Section 265 of the Community Charter is $1,000. Implications for the community: ability to enforce the bylaws through a fine system. Organizationally, enforcement of the bylaws. There's no budget implications. Significant dates: this bylaw should be adopted as soon as possible, as currently there is no ability to fine offenses under the new Animal Control and Licensing Bylaw. And sustainability: continuation of enforcing our bylaws. Options: number 1, that Municipal Ticket Information Amendment Bylaw number 1279.10, 2016 be adopted, or 2, that it be returned to staff for changes, or 3, that it be abandoned, and staff recommend option 1.
Thank you very much. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCardoff. I'll move option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell seconding that. This is just a formality now. We've discussed this before, and so it's for adoption. All in favor? Thank you very much. Waste management services and regulations. Merry Christmas, water councillors. This is Mr. Zackel.
Thank you. So before council is Waste Management Service and Regulation Amendment Bylaw 1309.02. And this is to review and update the Waste Management Service and Regulation Bylaw. This bylaw was established to set regulations for services to collect and dispose of solid waste and recyclable materials within the town of Osuyos and materials accepted at the Osuyos Sanitary Landfill. This bylaw amendment was given first 3 readings at the December 5th, 2016 regular meeting of council. Amendment Bylaw 1309.02 is being brought forward for council's consideration of adoption. At the town's landfill, we have a contractor that comes in and recycles the mattresses and box springs to ensure any recyclable materials do not go into the active phase. There is a fee of $7.50 per box spring or mattress that is charged, and we pay our contractor the same rate. There has been no rate increase for this service since we began recycling these items. Our contractor has put us on notice that their rate is increasing to $10 per box spring and mattress. To ensure the recycling of these items is fully funded, a rate change is required within our waste service or waste management service rate and regulation bylaw. So the implications on community, continued effort for waste diversion and the Osuyos Sanitary Landfill to extend the lifespan for residents. Organizational, no changes required. Budget, this would ensure no additional cost of recycling of mattresses and box springs. Significant dates, bylaw needs to be adopted prior to rates coming into effect. Sustainability, continued effort for protecting the environment, waste reduction, and financial sustainability. Options before council. To adopt Waste Management Service and Regulation Amendment Bylaw 1309.02. Option 2, to rescind third reading and make further changes to Amendment Bylaw 1309.02 and reread for a third time. And option number 3 is to not change Bylaw 1309.01 at this time. So recommendation before council is option number 1.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCardoff. I move to adopt Waste Management Services and Regulations Amendment Bylaw 1309.02, 2016.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next is the Aerated Lagoon, number 3, sludge removal. Mr. Dinwiddie.
Thank you, Mayor McCardoff. The liner in aerated cell number 3 has been in service for 39 years, which is significantly beyond the anticipated 25-year service life. The liner replacement in cell number 3 will be similar to the replacement of the liner in cell number 2, which was completed in 2010. An overview of the project. This phase of the project will consist of dewatering and desludging cell number 3 in preparation for the old liner removal and the installation of new aerators in a cell liner in 2017. And below this is a spreadsheet outlining the various contractors who bid on this project. Implications for the community. The installation of the new liner in sewer lagoon cell number 3 will eliminate the possibility of effluent leaching out of the sewer lagoon and contaminating groundwater supplies. For the organization, elimination of the sewer lagoon liner, which has exceeded its expected life expectancy by 14 years. The budget, the proposal for removing sludge from sewer lagoon cell number 3 from Aqua Clean Environmental Services is $22,821.10, or 6% below the approved budget for this project, when a $20,000 contingency allowance and GST are included. Significant dates. Aqua Clean Environmental Services proposed to begin this project in the second week of February in 2017 with a completion date of March 10th, 2017. Sustainability, dramatic reduction in the possibility of effluent leaching out of the sewer lagoon and contaminating groundwater supplies. The options for council are: 1, that council does award Aerated Lagoon number 3 sludge removal to Aqua Clear Environmental Services. Number 2, that council does not award Aerated Lagoon number 3 sludge removal to Aqua Clear Environmental Services. And option number 3, council requests additional information prior to making a decision. Administration recommends that council adopt option number 1.
Thank you very much. And could I ask, this is the last pond for a while that needs to have
Yep.
the sludge removal? So this is quite an expensive undertaking, but obviously, as you explained, very necessary.
Yeah, it's the last one to be done.
Good. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member McCordoff. I'll move option number 1. The council does award Aerated Lagoon number 3 sludge removal to AquaClear Environmental Services.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell is seconding that motion. Is there anyone wishes? Councillor Rhodes.
Mr. Dinwiddie, I'm just wondering if you could maybe just give us a brief overview of the funding source for this particular project, where that funding is coming from.
This was operating, wasn't it? Sewer fund. Yeah, this would come out of the sewer fund.
Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot.
No worries.
Yeah.
I just always like to do that. This does not come out of general
No.
revenue. It's from our sewer fund,
Yes.
which is collected from the residents for that specific
Yep.
purpose in our community.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Good. Anyone else? All in favor of the motion? Thank you very much. And next is the inflatable water park request for proposal. Ms. Swan.
All right, thank you. So the purpose of this report is to request that Council approve the attached inflatable water park request for proposals. To provide an overview, over the recent months, the town received a few inquiries from business operators who are interested in establishing an inflatable water park in Osoyoos. During the November 21st, 2016 regular open meeting, Council resolved to release the results of the inflatable water park proposal survey to the public and to proceed with an RFP for the establishment of an inflatable water park at Legion Beach. The Legion Beach location was selected by Council after considering various options, shortlisting 2 potential sites, and reviewing survey results and comments from 249 respondents. The Waterfront Steering Committee, chaired by Councillor C.J. Rhodes, reviewed a draft version of the RFP on December 13, 2016. The committee's comments and suggestions have been incorporated into the attached RFP. In terms of implications for the community, in addition to the survey, there will be additional opportunities for interested members of the public to learn more about the proposal and to provide comments and feedback. These include an initial public open house and a public hearing during the rezoning process. Organizationally, the Waterfront Steering Committee will review and evaluate all of the competitive proposals received and provide recommendations to Council. The town will request that the selected operator present its proposal at a public open house, followed by an application to rezone the lease area from W1 public water use to W4 commercial moorage under the town's foreshore and lake zoning bylaw number 1294/2012. With respect to converting the town's current license of occupation to a head lease for the proposed lease area, this application will be submitted to the province by the town. However, the selected operator will be responsible for any fees that may be associated with the application. So, for example, any surveying or contract work, the commercial crown lease charges, and BC assessment taxes. In terms of budget, among a number of responsibilities, the successful proponent will be responsible for the following: annualized lease payments to the town, liability insurance, application to the town for rezoning the lease area from W1 public water use to W4 commercial moorage under the foreshore and lake zoning bylaw, the head lease fees due to the province by the town and other potential fees associated with the head lease application, BC assessment taxes for the lease area, application to the province for change approval under Section 11 of the Water Sustainability Act, and a business license application. In terms of significant dates, taking into consideration the public consultation and provincial approval processes, the earliest anticipated lease start date will be spring of 2018. The timing is dependent on a number of factors, including the release of the RFP and the review of proposals by the Waterfront Steering Committee, the process and outcome of the foreshore and lake zoning bylaw amendment, the process of converting the town's license of occupation to a head lease by the province, and the change approval application under Section 11 of the Water Sustainability Act to the province. In terms of sustainability, one of the public objectives of the RFP is the maintenance of local environmental quality and the surrounding neighborhood's quality of life. The province will also be reviewing proposals from an environmental and ecosystems perspective. In terms of options, option number 1 is that Council approve the inflatable water park request for proposals. Option number 2, that Council requests further revisions to the inflatable water park request for proposals before proceeding further. And option number 3, that Council recommend any other action deemed appropriate. And staff's recommendation is option number 1.
Thank you very much. There's been quite a lot of talk about this issue. I know that that council and town have received several comments from people after the fact, and perhaps they were included in the one of the respondents that, or maybe they weren't, but they still have an option now, from my understanding, to come to an open meeting and make comments in the spring. Am I correct? Perhaps I should let Councillor Rhodes, the head of the steering committee, do you have any comments on this issue? Could you? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So when we were working on this, there was already a little bit of public input from a survey we did. It's fair enough to say that it was mostly very positive comments. A lot of parents of young children that would use this kind of thing were very excited about it. There is a close example in Penticton that's been there, I think, for a couple of summers. Appears to be just a lot of fun for families and reasonably successful. And it's not that we've modeled everything that we're doing after that, but certainly it serves as a little bit of a beacon on where we're going with this. But I did want to say, and I know Dillis has covered it very thoroughly in here, and I want to cherry pick a word that Councillor Campbell uses quite often, and that's the word proactive. It is so... yeah, there was a lot of words I could have chosen. We'll use that one right now. Save the rest for something else. As this becomes a reality, there has been and probably will be a lot of negative responses to it. It will have an impact no matter where it's located, and right now we have picked a location for it. There will be impacts to both residents and users of our parks and beaches, and to some people it would be perceived as a very positive, but to some people it could be a negative impact due to noise and that type of thing in their particular area. To be proactive, it means that you must let us know. And you have two very definitive ways of doing that. You can show up at the public information meeting that we're going to have, because there you can gather information about it. You can have a look and ask questions and become knowledgeable about it, and then you can comment on it. In addition to that, we will have a public hearing. We will look at not only written submissions, but you can come down, stand in front of council in a very formal way, and let us know what you think about it. And it can be either positive or negative, but it's so important, because once this starts to move forward through the process and we adopt it and we're going to move forward with it, and we do get the RFP results back, that's too late. We need to hear about it. You got at least one full calendar year to let us know about it. And the other thing is that anytime you can send any one of the council members or mayor or any one of our staff an email just letting us know what your views are. And, I don't want to turn this into a lecture or, but it's really, really important that you do this before it happens, because after the fact, it probably will not have any bearing on the decision-making process. So that's the way it is, and this could be a great thing in our community for a lot of people, but it does have community impacts, and we really do need to hear from you from one of those methods. So.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Thank
Are
you,
you
Mayor.
being proactive?
I'm being
Checking.
proactive.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Having read through the RFP, and it certainly captures the spirit of the conversations we've had within the steering committee. I'm very comfortable with the public input and the transparency of the process. And having said all that, I'd like to move that Council approve the inflatable water park request for proposal.
Thank you. And Councillor Youngberg, you're seconding that motion. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to that? No? Thank you very much. All in favor? Thank you. So that will move forward. As you can see, the request for proposal involves quite a lot of homework on the part of the people applying. So that's a good thing. Okay. Community support for accommodation sharing, or have I missed something?
No, next.
We've got one to add in there, and I just couldn't remember if I've got it in the right place. So,
It can go
Mr.
number 4. You mentioned number 3 initially, but it can go number 4.
okay, so
Or
this
it
is the
can go-
affordable housing.
Yeah, it can go 3 or 4, whichever one you want to deal with.
It doesn't matter. What
No.
which should we go do that
Well, this
first?
one is
No.
listed as number
Okay.
3 already.
Alrighty, so it says number 3 in here too.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. So we will go to Mr. Romanko.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. This is the subject of this is community support for accommodation sharing economy. It's a known fact that many property owners illegally rent out their single-family units for summer accommodation. The result of this action is unfair business environment between those illegal operators and the hoteliers. Illegal operators are able to offer reduced rates due to not charging taxes. The result is not only an unfair business environment, but also creates a shortage of rental space for employees that are needed to service the tourism industry. This action has caused negatively affected parties to encourage municipal enforcement, and the town has attempted to enforce with limited or no success. The lack of success is due in part to the extreme amount of evidence that must be produced to support enforcement actions, the high amount of resources that are needed to achieve any level of success, and the lack of cooperation of people who are using these rental units. This issue has been heightened by the blossoming practice of using online services of Airbnb and vacation renter by owner to broker tourism accommodation. This illegal use of single-family units is not only an Osoyoos problem, but one is common to resort municipalities. Over the past 3 years, there has been efforts by resort municipalities to encourage the provincial and federal governments to assist through legislative changes and tax laws to even the tax environment with businesses that provide tourism accommodation. The latest efforts occurred at the 2016 UBCM, when discussions occurred between provincial ministers and representatives from the resort municipalities. Attached, please find 2 letters, one letter from the Osoyoos Hotel and Motel Association to Osoyoos Council, and the other from a committee that was formed to represent resort municipalities in dealing with future resort municipality funding and related resort municipality issues. The content of the letters are similar in focus in that the Hotel Association is asking Council to send a letter to the provincial government ministers requesting provincial tax regulation 78(1)B be rescinded, and the other letter is asking Council to sign a letter from the resort municipalities asking that the ministers to complete the same action. There are also letters from municipalities of Whistler and Sun Peaks as examples of letters from individual resort municipalities. The letter from the Resort Municipality Committee is also asking the province to re-examine property assessment legislation to better fit the current practice of renting family units. Rescinding tax regulation 78(1)B would result in tourism operators with less than 4 units losing their tax exemption from hotel and local resort regional district taxes. The requirement to pay these taxes would result in more accurate information of rental income that would also affect income taxes and the municipality's ability to impose business taxes on these operators. The ultimate result is a common tax environment for tourism accommodation. This change would affect bed and breakfast operators and renters of single-family units. In terms of implications, the community receives benefit from being able to offer a wide range of tourism accommodation, which is affected by price points of units. Price points of units are affected by the amount of tax that operators must charge. The community is also affected by an unfair taxing environment, influencing development of additional tourism units. Less development of new hotel rooms occurs because tourists are using illegally operated units that can offer a lower price point due to paying less tax. Organizational, there would be a need to review our zoning bylaw and the time associated with bylaw enforcement. Budget, stifled tourism accommodation development affects community growth, amount of taxes available, and access to resort municipality initiative funding and municipal regional district tax funds as well. Significant dates, looking for letters as soon as possible, and sustainability is related to economic sustainability of the community. 4 options are presented for council. Council passes a resolution directing the administration to write a letter on behalf of the town supporting the request of the Hotel Motel Association and approves adding the support of the town to the letter being sent by resort municipalities. 2, council passes a resolution directing the administration to support only one of the actions of writing a letter on behalf of the town supporting the request of the Motel Hotel Association and approves adding the support of the town to the letter being sent by the resort municipalities. 3, council passes a resolution that illustrates no support for either action identified in option number 1, and option 4, council takes no action on this matter. Recommendation, the administration recommends option number 1. An individual letter brings heightened awareness of the issue to the ministers and support for the resort municipality community. Committee illustrates Osoyoos Council's recognition of a common resort municipality issue and lends support to the resort municipalities working together.
Thank you. This is quite a big issue. As you can see, it not only the local hotel motel association is involved, but many of the resort municipalities, because they, in order to be resort municipalities, they have a lot of motels and hotels in their area. So this affects businesses in those areas. So I think it's quite important for us to follow up on this. Several communities have sent letters already, and I think it's a good idea for us to do the same. Yes, Councillor Campbell.
I'll move option number 1.
And Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. Anyone else like to? No? Okay.
No, it's quite straightforward.
Yeah, it is, and probably quite necessary. All in favor? Thank you very much. And next is the Affordable Housing Authority, report number 6. Mr. Romanko.
Thank you. At Council's October 3rd, 2016 meeting, the Affordable Housing Authority Policy, PLA 018, was approved by Council. In terms of an overview, in attempting to implement policy PLA-018, Council and Administration found the designation of 5 members to be restrictive. In an effort to provide more implementation flexibility, the attached policy is provided for Council's consideration. The change in PL 018 is noted in Article 2 and relates to the number of members making up the Affordable Housing Committee. In the original policy, the direction was to have 5 members. The changed policy has a membership numbers identified as a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5. In terms of implications, the community benefits from having volunteers with backgrounds and experience in various housing-related fields making the decisions on allocations of near-market housing to applicants. Organizationally, the staff will be assisting the Affordable Housing Authority Committee through providing technical advice. No budget implications, no significant dates or sustainability. Three options being presented. One, council passes a motion supporting the amended PLA 018 policy as identified in the report. Two, council makes additional changes to policy PLA -018 and approves the further amended policy. And three, council requests additional information prior to considering the policy change direction. And the administration is recommending option one. This change to the policy will provide flexibility in recruiting members to the Housing Authority Committee.
Thank you. Councillor Youngberg.
Yes, thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I'm real happy to see that we're moving ahead with this authority, and we've had lots of discussion about this authority, and I would like to move that council passes a motion supporting the amended PLA 018 policy as identified in the report.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. Anyone else like to speak on that? All in favor? Thank you. Next is the general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts. And the background is to report on expenditures from accounts payable for council approval and payroll information for council to receive. So general cash requirements of $1,240,102.62 and Sun Bowl cash requirements of $8,298.66, and those will be passed by consensus. And net payroll accounts of $93,319.08, and that is for information. So do we need, no, we don't, we're done. Okay. Next is the building permits report. And we're happy to see that there are 2 single-family dwellings being built, perhaps not in this cold weather, but I think they're on their way. And this would be for a total of $800,000, $806,000. Total to date of 2016 is $6,864,594. So we're happy to report that. Do we need a motion to accept that? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg. Councillor Rhodes.
I would just like to mention that the totals for the 2 years of 2015 and 16, it looks like there's a huge difference between the two of them. There actually is. It's a statement of the obvious. I know that. I might add that the 2015 total does include our fire hall from last year, and if you factor that out of there, I think we're just slightly ahead of what we were last year. And I mention that because building permit totals are an excellent barometer of gauging how a big part of our community economics are determined, and I just wanted to point that out just so everybody doesn't think that we're way behind last year. We're actually pretty darn close, if not a bit ahead.
Thank you very much for pointing that out. And next is the bylaw enforcement report. And it's interesting to have a look at the month of November. Traffic and park take up a fair amount of hours of the bylaw, and animals. And I see that there's 13 hours spent on animal control, and I know that our bylaw officer is quite busy with dogs and cats, and the other day she had to help rescue a swan from the lake who was frozen in, and I believe the fire department was called, and I believe the swan has been taken to the to the vet, and is at the vet right now. It seems to me that at this time of year, there's usually swans on the lake for a very short time, and then I'm not sure where they go, but I've seen them 2 or 3 times this week in front of my house, so I assume that what's happened is that these poor things got caught in the ice on the night that things froze. So they only found one, so the rest of them must have escaped. Anyway, we thank Pat, our bylaw officer, for providing this information for us and for continuing to look after all of our animals, and she's great at it in this area and all of the other issues that are there. Anyone want to know anything else about that? Okay, so do we need to accept this report?
See rats on there?
Pardon me? Bats?
I said, do you see rats on the report?
No, I think it may be a bit cold. Okay, so we need a resolution to accept this. Thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you. And now we go to committee reports. Is there anything there? No. CAO report.
I think Mayor McCordoff, just a few of the things the administration has been involved in over the last couple of weeks, starting first in community services, where we have the new activity calendars out, and the program registration started December 14th, and so far it's been very strong. The winter break camp, there's 2 separate weeks. I know that they were looking for more registrations, especially in the second week, but certainly the first week looks like it's going to go for sure. My congratulations to Tamara Morgan and the rest of the recreation staff that held another successful Rocking with Santa event on Saturday, and this is a free family event, and I think was very well attended. And also the Sonora Community Center roof is repairs underway. In terms of finance, we've been very busy there doing budget preparation and preparation for Council's meeting last Friday, also meeting with the Regional District over transit, and also preparing for the year end. In terms of public works, we had our first snowfall, and that was quickly dispatched by our public works crew, and another good job getting out there early and sanding down the roads for everybody. In terms of myself, attended the Waterfront Steering Committee meeting dealing with the terms of reference for the water park. Also cleaning up some fire hall related projects, and I'm very happy to inform Council and the public that the occupancy permit for the facility was issued on Friday, and I saw the fire department was in there very, very quickly to start the transitions of moving into their new building. I don't think they'll be in right away, but certainly there will be an orientation process because there's lots of new toys for them to play with. I've also been busy with making grant applications on the fire hall to Fortis, both electrical and for a grant boiler, and we've been able to secure some small grants in those particular areas from Fortis, and had a meeting with Destination Associates and Destination in BC, just discussing the delivery of visitor services information here in town, and of course some involvement with the budget process as well. So that's my report, and on behalf of all the administration and the workers of the town, I wish to pass on the best Merry Christmas and best of the season to all the residents and all the visitors who will be in town.
Good. Thank you very much. So we need a resolution to accept the report. Thank you, Councillor Campbell, Councillor King. All in favor. Thank you. And now to council reports, and first is Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Well, first off, congratulations to the 4 individuals that stepped up to the plate to engage themselves in our affordable housing situation over the next few years. Many times throughout the year, opportunities are presented to myself to talk about affordable housing, usually on a negative basis, and the lack of it in our community. So it's going to be really good to have those 4 experts fully engaged in that. Like most guys, I will probably commence my Christmas shopping next Saturday afternoon on the 24th. I feel no urgency to move forward with it, and I'm perfectly happy to do that. And I'll probably be doing it at the Home Hardware store if it's open late enough, and I know that Shoppers Drug Mart is definitely open later too. And there is a point to those two comments. I will be doing all of my Christmas shopping locally, and I would like to encourage everybody in our community. There's a week left, or a little bit short of a week. It's never too late, and you can never underestimate the benefit and what you can do as an individual to make our economy stronger than shopping locally. And believe me, it's the most beneficial thing that you can do. I'm the first one to understand the temptations of going to other communities and shopping, but boy, just a little bit of discipline just drives our economy upwards when you shop locally for as much as you can. Similarly to echo CAO Romanko, Merry Christmas to everybody in our community. Happy New Year. I hope it's a great year. There's been lots of negative things happen in our world in 2016, and some of them are continuing on. But I hope everybody has enough optimism to move forward in a positive way next year. And what a great opportunity to renew those good feelings. And finally, Merry Christmas to our councillors. This is the second Christmas that we spent together, and for me, it's been good and positive. And okay, well, I'm sorry. Yeah.
To see how memorable
It's one of the downsides, in my opinion, of having an ex-teacher for a mayor. You will always get corrected when you make a mistake. I apologize. 3 Christmases still does not lessen my sincerity about Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you. So,
Thank you, and I'm sorry, I just can't help myself.
I get it. I've been together with you for, let me get this straight, 5 years now. So
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 6 years, 6 Christmases.
no hope for me.
Well said, Councillor Rhodes. Thank you. Councillor Campbell, you're next.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I can appreciate the ex-teacher comment. I was just moved right next to her, and you'll notice I've stopped taking notes at fear of being corrected. So this past week I attended the School District 53 board meeting. During that meeting, Chairperson Marie Zatar was elected again as chair, and Trustee Zandy as vice chair. Attended the budget meeting, and I'm surprised there wasn't a ton of people there for a riveting experience like that, but an important one at that. I attended the chamber meet and greet, which had an excellent turnout. It was held at the Inkabip Desert Cultural Center. And again, I just want to say kudos to the residents and businesses. It's always amazing to see, and you see it through social media almost daily, people going out of their way to meet the needs of those less fortunate around this time of year, and we just see a ton of it through the community, and it's quite inspiring. And other than that, just a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. The Mayor, the town staff, our fellow councillors, and the residents of Osoyoos. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, attended the South Okanagan Chamber's Business After Business last week up at the OIB's Culture Center, and to see their new vision for the next 5 years, how they're going to span that Culture Center and possibly bring new exhibits is really exciting for our town. Again, kudos to the Mayor, Council, and especially all the staff for their hard work for the past year, and really want to wish everybody in town a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if you did miss the budget session on Friday, I'd encourage you to be there next year, because it's really cold in the room, but there's a lot of good hot air and discussion going around. Yeah, thanks again.
Thank you, Councillor King. Councillor Youngberg.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just as this time of year where we have quite a lot of enjoyment going around in our places of work and where we volunteer. And I paid a visit to the RCMP and to the ambulance today, and dropped off some Santa things, and thanking them so much for all the work that they do in our area. And they've been extremely busy the last 4 or 5 days with different events that have happened. And I certainly appreciate, and I'm quite sure everybody in the community does, all the work that they do for us. And I did, too, attend the chamber function at the Interpretive Center. And very interesting. We have new members, and welcoming new businesses to town, particularly Leanne Scott, who's a therapist in town, who joined the chamber briskly after being in business for months, so that was very nice to see, and an Osoyoos resident as well. And my wishes to everybody, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and enjoy the holidays, and be safe out there, and take care, and hopefully not too many of you are going to Vancouver in that mess that's going on down there. Anyways, that's my report.
Thank you. So I just want a couple of things I want to talk about. One is to thank many members of Osoyoos Town staff, and particularly Tamara Morgan, for putting on a great event on Saturday, Rockin' with Santa, very well attended, and lots of kids and hockey players and parents out skating with their kids. So thank you to all of them, because they do a great job. And I also, on Thursday night, I attended the Osoyoos Elementary School Christmas concert, which was held at the Sonora Center gym, and it was held at 6 o'clock. And I was very happy that they did that when I was there, eons ago. We did Christmas concerts in the evening, and to accommodate parents that were coming. I know that parents have some flexibility in their jobs now, and most of them did come when it was held in the afternoon, but it was very nice to see so many parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and little kids that were up dancing, and so I just commend them all, the students, the staff, and the Sonora Center for providing the opportunity for them to put it on there. MLA Larson is conducting a poll or a survey comments on rural education, and I don't have the exact email address, but it would certainly be available on her website. I would think on our town website as well. If anybody's interested in commenting on rural education, I believe she has 4 fairly open-ended questions on there, and it's open to anybody. Anybody who wants to comment should do so, and I believe it should be done before the end of the first week in January. So you've got 2 more weeks to comment on there, and I'm thinking that there might be several people in this area that might be interested in doing that. There have been quite a few comments since our last meeting about the gyro washroom, and I certainly do understand, after having all of us look at all the issues down there, why it needed to be closed, how we could best deal with it, and we had to come to a difficult decision to close it, and we've had several people write to us upset with the fact that we had it closed. So believe me, we don't take any of these things lightly. We think about all the angles, and we have to make the best decisions based on what we think is best for our town. So while we realize that it's a bit of a hardship for some people, there are a couple of washrooms that are open in the town. Certainly Town Hall's washroom outside here is open every day, and this week anyway, and also the washroom at Goodman. So we hope people will understand, and we appreciate your consideration on this issue. And I'd just like to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. I certainly agree with Councillor Rhodes. Shopping locally is absolutely the best way to go, and it helps all of our stores and businesses in our community. I seem to sign up for silent auction items, and at everywhere I go, and usually it's either wine or gift certificates to local restaurants, and I believe I have a gift certificate for just about every restaurant in town now, so I better start using some of them. So I definitely agree that shopping locally is the best way to go. So I just want to say a special thank you to all of the businesses, the community groups, the churches, individuals who go out of their way to help local residents at this time of year, to provide food and clothing and gifts for food hampers and for the food bank and for meals for people in our town. And it's the whole town. There's many people doing that. So I want to wish staff, councillors, and everybody in Osoyoos a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy 2017. Thank you. And I think we need to close the meeting, so I need a motion. Thank you. Councillor Campbell, Councillor King, to close the meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, everybody.